Hi, officer. It's Chantal. Again. I just wanted to see, has anyone filed a complaint against me? Oh, they did? Uh-huh. Well, while I have you on the phone, can we refile those charges against my ex? You know, I was ready to let it go, but now I'm mad at him, so... Bottoms up.
Who are you talking to?
I am on the phone getting my affairs in order.
You're oh,
I'll call you back, officer. 4 o'clock? Okay. So, did I mention to you guys I'm gonna be in a fashion show? Hello everyone, I'm Steve. Mark's out at the moment, and this is SmokeySteveAndMarc. Either welcome or welcome back, and happy Saturday. It is the weekend, so we are having coffee in the afternoon. Good vibes. And it's Keurig Cameroon with a stevia in it, which I hate stevia with coffee. It's okay with fruit, but ugh. At any rate, we're here. So, hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's safe. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. We're going to catch up today with our fair lady, Chantal Marie, Foodie Beauty, Big Beautiful Me, The Daily Chantal, Chantopolis, The Chantal Show, The Beezer Show, some other dumb shit, and we're Foodie Beauty now again. So, just to recap last week, the points that we touched on. Let's see. It was like the tail end of the drama between Shannon and Chantal over Shannon trying to reach Chantal in a time of crisis, Chantal saying that she was too busy with herself, and then all of it became, people shared screenshots and texts, and the fight with them always ends with, I did cocaine with you at a party, and you said it didn't happen, so you're a liar, and you're a bad person. It always devolves to that, because I don't think Chantal has much of anything else on Shannon. Shannon's also not a public figure, nor did she say she wants to be. But it's always good to have friends who are very popular and use their platform to humiliate you. It shows 2 decades worth of commitment to that. Turkey. We were going to go to Turkey. We're not going to Turkey. She's canceling. No Turkey. And the harem of boys that she's been booking into hotels has kind of come to an end too. She's landed on a new guy for now. Sounds very different than Natter for now. We'll see. Heard this is my last mention of Natter and Dee streams. It's never the last. There's always going to be more. She's always going to have something else to say. Always. Her being a hustler, we talked about last week with the postcards and OnlyFans. It's one thing to not deliver content to a free viewer like me. But if I had sent you money for something and then you didn't send it, that's actionable. It's actionable. Judges are really good at picking apart liars, too. So, taking money, I mean, I guess in a moral sense, some folks might feel bad. Even in an ethical sense, it's just bad business. But if you want to be known as the kind of person who takes, and never gives, I don't mean give for generosity. I mean give to win power and influence in the relationships. And of course, she was Vixen, Portrait of a Woman. Bitch. Half a dozen guys, like I said. I think she's canceled the housing, or the hotels for some of them, because she's met a new guy. But so this week, we have a little bit of a health arc. They arc every so often. It's been years I've been watching her, and it's like that. Natter, and I think Foodie behind the scenes. The striking of over 130, over 140 channels for copyright. Really? Really? That's so not going to work out when it comes back in his face. Her new schedule for we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to go walking every day. Chantal pays like she eats. So when she's talking about these men that she's being with, she can't help but have leverage. And so I suspect that she would start to spend more money on whatever man she was with. I don't think she would like a guy who had himself together. It doesn't give... It's so obvious, the contrast between her and a healthy person next to each other. Who was the dude she picked up in the car? not Nick, maybe it was Nick. He was just a friend and had a car date. And he looked like he couldn't get out of that car fast enough. Consequence of fat fishing. You know, when you basically put on a mask and then show up as somebody else, it's like Scooby-Doo. Like, who is the woman underneath that filter? Yes, it's a woman. All right. And Chantal checked to see if there was a case open from Dad or Dee Dee towards her. So the health arc. The health arc. No reason for any of us to get hopeful. No reason to worry. This happens every so often. She'll get over this faster than she ever got over any man she was with. Let's see. I don't really... Like, it's all empty promises about her goals when she talks a health arc. And it's the same old routine. It usually means going to therapy, though she said she didn't feel her Symbicort yet. So her mental health was so bad that she needed a medical intervention quick, and she hasn't filled the script yet. Then was it really for that reason that it was brought up? I don't know. She doesn't owe us anything technically. None of us, I suppose, do. I mean, in a moral sense, maybe? I mean, but it goes beyond that even. Like, taking money for postcards and not sending them is stealing. It's actionable. It's actionable because money has been transferred, possibly internationally, and nothing has been given in return. It's like, when I feel like it, I'll do what you paid me to do. So, whatever. She tries to mix up, I think, the other stuff that was going on this week with kind of the smoke screen of a health arc. To try to get everyone to look over there, don't look over here, don't look over here at all. Don't look at how stoic I'm being about the fact that Natter just happened to strike a bunch of people that don't like me either, and that he's a useful idiot, and it's going to fall on him, and then she'll win all over. Just a thought. Just a thought. You know, I've been that manipulative before. Back in my drinking days. And it's obvious to everybody except the person doing it. You think you're so convincing, and you think you're so slick. And some people will buy it, at least enough beezers to keep her in, you know, armpit bras and baba ganoush. But beyond that, there's not much, there's no friendship there with it. So, I don't know. I have very little hope for her as far as her health concerned. Ooh! Bandit! Bandit says hi. Very little hope that she's going to address any of her health concerns. She never does. She never does. Not her mental health. She'll make an appointment, say she talked to the therapist, and then it turns out it was a receptionist, and then it turns out it was an email. We're getting closer and closer to the truth, as, you know, a lot of layers to the onion. And just like an onion, the more layers you peel off, the more it stinks. And so, the striking spree. Now, this is as much Natter news as Chantal, but their channels are intertwined at this point by the history. His channel could go on to be about bad cooking or whatever he likes, but that's not going to get any further than the help Chantal provided. She gave him a channel. There's some things Chantal says that are just plain true. If she didn't date him, refer to him, talk to him, no one would know who he was. The only reason his name would be in the paper was for something, well, not good. But he's put himself out there, and his consequences are a result of his actions, and he has his own. It is, to me, a little curious that of all the 140 some people that were hit, that Chantal wasn't. Of all of them. She had nothing to do with it either. I really suspect she was behind the scenes pulling strings. Natter looks like a very useful idiot. He struck a bunch of channels that she doesn't like. And they don't like him either because he's there. So she gets that drama for herself, and she gets to have clean hands. To anyone who doesn't really think about it that much. The striking thing is a little, I mean, the angle she's taking is, you're stealing my content. Her angle for striking people, because she's been threatening Monty with one forever. And Monty seems like a good guy. But she has this opinion that anyone who uses any piece of her footage, and him the same thing, is actionable. Fair use is fair use. It is not up for debate at our level, you know. It's a law, like, you know, fair use is fair use. So if I'm going to take your stuff and reuse it, it's got to be transformative. I will concede that YouTube's definition of transformative seems odd to me. This is an opinion of mine, not a fact, but someone who would take, let's say, one of Chantal's videos, say it's on the low side, we'll say it's an hour long, and a person posts a video that's 1 hour and 7 minutes long. And the only difference is that in that 7 minutes, they added some comments, but otherwise played the video all the way through. I wouldn't want that for anybody. You know, it's hard to care what happens to Chantal because she kind of, you know, people don't like her. But I think when you're right, you're right. Now, I'm not the author of fair use either, though. So my opinion is that she's, you know, going about people who are just taking her content in its entirety and barely getting through it. That's definitely something I would agree with. But anybody who says an ill word, you know, something, oh, did you drop your diet? Blocked. Are you still seeing? Blocked. You seem a little bit high. Blocked. They just all keep going. So the striking is just going to be a big clusterfuck, I think, because Natter has no idea what he's doing. And I think Chantal, while she'll benefit from this and maybe put some batteries in Natter's back, can keep her hands off of this. So things will happen to people she doesn't like and her hands aren't on it. It's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. I feel like Natter's, like I said, the useful idiot, the clown prince of Lachine, that he's gonna, you know, he wouldn't have a channel without her. She's not wrong about that either. He would not have a channel. He could have a channel, but I've seen cooking channels, big ones, and when you look at the beginning of their videos, they were, like, honest. Like, they didn't lie. If they're a home cook, they say they're a home cook. If they're a chef, they say they're a chef. If they say, I just like to cook. You know, someone who was making a video like Natter's and says, I just like to cook, and here I'm going to show you that. That makes sense. That's a lot of people. But to say I'm a chef and then try to, you know, cut steak with a plastic fork, it's like, you know, I'm going to make poppy seed dressing my way. No poppy seeds. You can only change so many ingredients before it's not that dish anymore your way. You know, that's just not, and that's not a shot at Natter necessarily, though he deserves it. That's just an attitude that he carries. So, like I said, she has a hard-on for Monty, stories from the internet, and her complaint with him is that she believes he uses all her material and just adds a little bit to it. He goes live when she goes live, and he starts running her material. She's been calling it sniping. It's not, but what she believes she's referring to is that one person will go live and another person starts running it right away to run ads off of it. And she feels that's unfair. Like I said, I feel like it's kind of unfair, but I don't decide transformative. She doesn't decide transformative or fair use. These things are not subjective. They're not at the whim of feelings. I feel like that wasn't fair use. That fair is not like, it's fair, it's not fair. It's what's legal, what's not. What can you do, what can you not do? And these things, you can delineate these. There's room for opinion when making those kind of decisions, and I don't know if YouTube does, but so threats on YouTube about that kind of striking thing kind of ebb and flow a little bit, but this particular circumstance, I've never seen someone hit that many people so quick, blind to the consequences to themselves about what was going to happen. And the channels that I noticed were struck were not very small channels, but like some smaller than ours, as far as subscriber base, and views maybe about comparable, and they were taken down. I'm like, when you're a small channel, whether you're wanting to be a bigger one or are content with, you know, sizes and everything, you don't really care too much about some of that stuff. But, I don't know. We'll see. 140 strikes. We'll see what happens to him. They bounce back. Like, if you strike and it doesn't go through, you bounce back. And then there's concern about, am I going to be doxxed by sending my information, which would have to go back if I want to rebut it, if I want to, you know, appeal it. And I personally probably wouldn't think too much of, I don't know. If I were in their position, I would, you know, try to follow through with, no, I don't think I did anything wrong. I don't think I did anything out of fair use. I don't think I did anything that wasn't transformative. That's a lot of freaking channels. I couldn't even believe there was that many who mentioned him or took a picture of him or something. And again, this is more about Natter's choices, but when they just happen to kind of benefit her too, and she gets to righteously say her hands are clean of all of it, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a hop, skip, and a jump to the three of them being the whole in on it. There's a large number of people that believe that Natter, Dee, Chantal are all in the loop. There's no he said, she said competition, that the drama is for drama's sake, which means the domestic violence drama was fucking sadistic. That's so rude to take something so serious and make, you know, a quarter of view off of it. because it wasn't educational, it wasn't sharing a personal experience or a message of hope. It was just trying to convince a bunch of people that somebody did things to you that there was no evidence of anyone doing. You know, the sex bruises, the burn on the lip. You know, we can lie to ourselves all we want, but people aren't dumb. People aren't dumb. And they're not always mean, but just because they know what's going on doesn't mean they're out to see you fail, necessarily. It's just, it is what it is. YouTube can be like that. It just is what it is. And you roll with it. You know, the decisions break more in Chantal's favor a lot, considering the TOS terms that she breaks with nudity, sexuality, drugs, all that kind of stuff. So, hey, do you, honey. It's fine. So, as saying, there will be some consequences coming around, I think, for Natter. We'll find out what they are or how serious they are. He has a couple channels, I think, of his own. He has his cooking channel. And then something else where, I don't know, he does magic tricks or beats women. Something like that. I don't know. So, good. But it's not, it'll come back to him. No good. 2, these mean people aren't mean. They're just holding the mirror up. If we don't, like, I don't get mad at other people because I don't like my reflection, because my reflection is based on what I'm putting out. You know what I mean? So, it's just what it is. It's just people reflecting back the words, choices, and decisions. And when you put yourself in a place where people, well, don't like you, more don't than do, then people are going to look for tiny little details to catch her on, to see if she's lying, to see if she's manipulating, to see if that scale even works anymore. You can tear a lot of scales. I was fat too, don't play me. Sending thin pictures and shit. I know how that goes. So, new schedule. New schedule. This kind of lines up with the health arc too. So she's going to have a whole new schedule. I'm going to do filming on this days. I'm going to do this in the morning. We'll coffee bees at night. And then whenever I get back from my tricks place, we'll go for coffee in the morning. And then I'll do some makeup tutorials. And then instead, sit around the house in a muumuu with your junk hanging out and flash it every so often for I don't know whose pleasure. Really. I know she gets off on getting people grossed out, but it doesn't make a good opinion to say, I am beautiful just the way I am. Now let me show you how gross I am. I guess whatever works for her. She's not too picky about the difference between reality and fantasy, I guess. So we'll see. We'll see. But the new schedule, which would include daily walks on her health end, eating good food, it's always the same shit. I don't know who she's winning over with this. Nobody believes her. People who even love her. And yes, there's some of them. Despite all the rest of ours opinions and what they say, there's people who just like her and will not turn on her because there's nothing to turn on. They believe they're friends. Chantal has said over and over again, she's friendsies, not friends, with the people that are on her channel. I miss you guys and I need you guys here with me in the restaurant. I don't feel like I'm eating alone when I have everybody here. You're sitting at a restaurant by yourself talking into a phone. That's not sad, but unfortunate? I mean, I don't know. And the life like that is the one that she throws around for folks to be jealous of. I really wish that. I wish I could go out to dinner alone, talk to the chat room. I like dinner with other people and with friends, and I can find someone to take me. Mark, of course, you know. But it wouldn't be an issue of, where am I going? She has to budget because she pays for like 3 people. Big Mama always has the money coming out. She can spend her money how she likes. If she doesn't spend it how she's supposed to, though, like on taxes and things, it'll come back. It'll all come back. Most of us won't live to see the end of this, probably, because she'll be 80 years old, if she lives that long. She's one of those people. You know, those people who make all the wrong choices and drive you nuts and they're a nudge and they live well into old age? I'm not saying I want or think Chantal should die young, but she's not as young anymore. You know, you start to trip into your 40s like I just did. All of a sudden I wake up in the morning and I sound like popcorn. Every joint starts to go. Every hips, knees, all of it. And I've taken fair care of myself. And this is what I was left with. She's kept horrible care of herself. You know, hips collapse, knees go out. She's going to need knee replacements. All her weight's on top. Her back's probably jacked up because she's so heavy in the front. that she has to compensate. It's like being pregnant for 40 years, you know, the weight distributed. She doesn't carry much weight like a woman, because at a certain point, this is what I learned from my nutritionist, because I was complaining about bodies and food. I was back in high school. I didn't sort it out for 10 years later. But talking about that kind of stuff, the changes she's going to make, who she's going to hang out with, it's all crap. It's all crap. I don't know who it's meant to confuse. I mean, right now there's more people, I think, on her channel who've been there a while and who aren't new, because she's lost 25% of her viewers, probably more. Not viewers, views. And views make money. You could have 1,001 subscribers, and still, if your videos are doing good views, you'll get good money. Chantal's reason is because you're talking about me. You'd be no one without me. Oh, fine. It's a good thing Natter's striking people you don't like. It's good. Isn't that just funny how it worked out that way? Isn't it? So I kind of miss mukbangs at this point, given all these stops and starts she has with other things. She will stop doing mukbangs after starting, but at this point, her weight is like it's so deep that like her weight is like one of the last things she has to worry about. And it's the first thing she thinks people don't like about her, or that they don't like her because she's fat. That has nothing to do with the opinions I have about Chantal. I mean, the things you need to do to go from unhealthy weight, overweight, to normal or thinner is lifestyle changes. Otherwise, we stay 400 pounds. And that's it. And we can tell everyone we love it. There is absolutely nothing good about being fat. Not one thing. I've been fat. I've been 90. I'm trying to lose for the wedding at the moment. I dropped like 14 pounds. My highest weight was 290. When I met Mark, I was at my biggest. And there's nothing nice about being fat. It's not, you only have a pretty face and nice skin for so long before your breasts start dragging on the ground. My own man boobs are finding their way now. It's just that time. So I'm hoping to get some of the fat out from under it so I can, you know, throw on some Spanx, and you can give the illusion of having a muscular chest if you poke things high enough and push them up high enough. Mark gains weight up here on his. Just trying to pay the rent. Mine do not. So, oh well. Not all of us are pillars of health, obviously. It's Smokey Steve and Mark. I've smoked on camera. I've smoked on lives, because I do it off camera as well. Not trying to be an example for anybody, because I'm not. I've treated my body like a speed bump, pretty much. And like I said, bodies give out. They give out. One of these times she'll be driving. It's definitely not hitting anything while she's driving, but potholes. Potholes don't leave fur and blood on the car, okay? Everyone can only have so many accidents. How many times can we hit a bump and it's always a pothole? What about a pole? What about being in the car with Natter when you ran into the back of somebody because you were trying to run him over? Okay, so we forget things that are not flattering to us. People do that. Who wants to open their mouth and say, by the way, I am a shit human being? You try to dress it up a little bit, if you can. I don't know. And then there's more men now. The young men are out of the harem. The new man is in. So she had dates with these guys who she was going to go to the hotel with. She said like half a dozen, so many men. It's total crap. You know, everyone could find someone. Anybody can go find anybody. There's a lid for every pot. I don't think she understands how unbelievable her claims are. And I don't mean unbelievable. I'm like, unbelievable. Not believable. If it makes her feel better to feel like she's, you know, sought after by many men, that's fine. She says sometimes they don't reply for a day or two, or at all. Or at all, I'm sure. And while the guy she's with, Tony for now, this is the new guy, I believe, she says he likes her body. Can't help but put his hands all over her body. So the new love interest is, he doesn't know all about her yet. He'll find out. People will find him, Kiwi Farms, and you know, other folks. He'll be tracked down and contacted about kind of person she is. And then videos and things will be sent. She'll give her explanation to him that it's just haters. I work in social media. It's just part of the show. Fine. You know, a lot of us are on YouTube. Not everybody has 10 reaction channels. I can't see doing... When I do talk about a channel, it's usually just Chantal, and it's usually once a week, because I like doing reactions. They're fun content. I like to hear people in the comments talk about other stuff that had gone on. And it's just something, you know, it's something light to do. But we do other stuff on the channel also. Our foodie beauty videos are the most watched. But that's not necessarily for nothing. We literally try to transform it into something that's funny, insightful, helpful, that would at least be neutral to it. That somebody who didn't like Chantal could listen to one of our videos and go, yeah, I see that. But somebody who was like a diehard sympathetic, you know, which I was when I first encountered Chantal. I joined and sent a super chat. It was like 7, 9, 10 months ago I did that. I was sucked in by her first domestic violence scam. And I had paid for the membership so I could send her a super chat and say, hey, hang in there, things are tough. I thought that somehow a serious situation, if it was, would make her be more honest, more likable, more truthful. She was crying in the stream, and I was, you know, upset for her and wanted to say something encouraging. But after a couple times, it's like, fuck you, keep the $5, whatever. So the new gentleman friend, who she's canceling all these other dates for, I'm sure, I believe the gentleman is going by Tony, I guess. From her description, he is not like Natter at all. He's in his early 50s. I think he's 51. He's employed. He has a job. He loves the shape of her body. No, I'm sure he doesn't. I think he tolerates the shape of her body. But that's just... No, maybe he does like it. Because when someone's romantically interested, or at least sexually interested in someone that's super morbidly obese, he might like her body. It might be just his type. For most people, it's probably not. And that can be called shallow, if it must. But he's apparently all over her like a cheap suit, as far as she's concerned. And so, her talking about him when she's in the car, he likes this, and he did this, and we did that, and then I came back from his place. This all sounded like Natter. All of this sounded like Natter at the beginning. Natter was a chef, remember? An international chef. And what is it now? His convenient girlfriend filming him burning food and him getting angry at people for pointing out that it's burned. I don't know. And he's got too thin skin. Real men don't get so pissy that they're gonna go strike over 100 channels because, you know, my feepies hurt. It's just gonna come back and create problems. He doesn't know enough about YouTube to do it. Chantal banks on that, which is why I think at this point she's ready to drive him into the ground and let him take everyone down with him on his way. Chantal has said, I'm not stupid, I know what I'm doing. It's really kind of like lousy, manipulative, but I gotta call it like I see it too, you know? So, Tony, promising for now. And then, now the last one, Chantal's case. Chantal wanted to see if there was a case open. As we alluded to in the intro to the intro, she said, she changed the story a couple times, but suffice it to say, she was in contact, in person or on the phone, with the police. And she wanted to see if a complaint had been lodged against her. And it was. So, she looked a little nervous. She was talking about it, she was in the car, and going on, and it was like for 3 minutes she was talking about it, and then crickets. Which means she doesn't have a plan for how to handle it yet, or she's stumped and doesn't know what to do. This whole relationship between the two of them now, should it be any bit real, it was always, I think, about blackmail. I'm sure that first meth bender weekend, she was filmed. And this is a lot of times the way women and men and children will get sucked into things like human trafficking, because they'd be videoed in having a sexual act with whoever, and then that would be used to blackmail the individual to do things that the filmer, you know, wants. And then it goes into, do this for me or I'll send this out. Now, Chantal fortunately has no shame. I don't think that could actually happen to her, because she releases more unflattering shit about herself than anybody else. So, I don't know. But she checked on the complaint, And they said there is one, and she got quiet, and it's like, do we wait? Dee Dee and Natter have been saying for months, leave us the F alone or we're going to take action on it. And if they did, they did. You know, none of us have to accept unacceptable behavior, especially if it's illegal. So I don't give them necessarily credit. I think they had enough with her. And they filed it just for spite. I can't believe people would manipulate the legal system. Of all the touchy things you don't want to fuck with, that you would play with the legal system as revenge upon one another. It's really... We have some folks in this area that do stuff like that. They call the police on each other, PFAs call CYS on each other. They're known as white trash, usually, because they're home all day doing nothing. That sounds familiar too. And come up with things to be upset about. Come up with things to people to have fights with, because her life is very boring outside of her phone. Take it away and she'd probably crumble into like an Ophelian heap, such as she could crumble. So, all right, I've said my bit. I'll have a little more at the end, but for now, we're going to welcome Mark in for what's going on Twitter. So, let me summon Mark.
Oh, of course. Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. How are you? Oh, you know what? I have the lowdown on what's happening on Twitter with our favorite girl. Some week, huh? I don't know whether to say I was bored out my mind or shocked out my mind, right? And the only way I'm saying shocked is like I'm kind of shocked at... well, the stupidity of the last week, to tell you the truth. Boring? Yes. All we gotta do is hit repeat, really, when you think about it. But, no, you know what? There's so much going on Twitter, and people are talking, and there's so much to talk about that we're not even going to mention her, recent striking rage, right? Oh, yeah, she joined her ex there, Nads, in this, striking campaign, predominantly with smaller, YouTube channels, right? But, Steven pretty much covered that, so we don't even need to mention that right now, but people are talking about it. And the one thing I find super interesting about that is the fact that she got upset when she found that certain reaction channels decided to cover somebody else. Does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me either. Of course, nothing in the FB world really makes sense to me. And we're not even going to mention the fact that, y'all, she canceled all of her hotel reservations. Yes, but people are talking about that too. Apparently, she had set up hotel reservations for the next gazillion years to meet up with people to film content for her OnlyFans channel, right? And she canceled them all. Yeah, I don't think she even made them to begin with, to tell you the truth. But who am I, right? So first up on what everybody's talking about, yo, her nails. Oh my gosh. Twitter is a buzz with this one. Really? And I have to admit, the only thing I want to say to her is, what are you thinking? What are you thinking, really? I mean, you know, I really do appreciate a good painted nail. I do. I think they look awesome. But this is, I don't know. So... what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And as one person pointed out, the only person that should be reported is her nail tech. All right, next up, people are talking all about her substance use. Oh, definitely. And it's one of the questions we get a lot here, here on Smokey Steve and Mark. You know, is she still using? Has she quit? What is she using? And, you know, coming from me, yes, she is definitely still using substances. Definitely. It's not just one. She's definitely a polysubstance user for sure. And it recently was revealed too by Natter himself. He admitted that he sold Miss FB $500 worth of falling snow, we shall say. And she has denied it pretty much up till this point, right? So, yes, Twitter is abuzz with her substance use. Serious note, she really needs to get her crap together. This can't continue much longer with the complications with her medical issues and, you know, being, well, obese and the amount of substances that she uses. We're in for the perfect storm here, and it's been happening for quite some time, and I have been saying that there is going to be a bottom or like a climax to this whole substance use thing pretty soon, and unless she can get herself together, this is going to happen, sadly. And y'all, Foodie Beauty called the fuzz. Yes, she did. I think she might have been a little paranoid or a little worried. So she did reach out to the police, and she spoke with a detective, and she was inquiring whether or not there was, well, any complaints against her. And this detective confirmed that indeed there is a complaint against her, allegedly from you know who. The interesting thing about this, to me anyway, is that she just fluffed it off, you know, and she's gonna get him and, oh, you know, whatever. But if you look at that video and you look at her face, she definitely seems to be worried about this for sure. And people are talking about it. And meanwhile, on the other side of the snowblower, Natter, the extortionist. Oh, yes. Well, I don't have to tell you all about his recent striking rage against predominantly smaller YouTube channels who cover him. I mean, there's over 130 of them from this guy. Now, it is rather unfortunate that this is happening to these YouTube channels, but I do encourage them to fight back. And they really are. To which Natter is also fighting back, threatening to sue all of these creators who put a counterclaim against them for defamation. Now, I don't know, I have one thing to say about this. Now, keep in mind that this person probably has no idea what defamation really even is, you know, and I would definitely encourage all of these YouTube channels to continue to fight back. But, as Barbecue Chicken pointed out, some people who did file counterclaims are getting rather sketchy phone calls and stuff. So I would just say, definitely have your ducks in order. And if you do counterclaim, just keep in mind this man is a predator and is pretty unstable, okay? So just keep that in mind, okay? And as a matter of fact, look, it is their legal right to counterclaim. He can't change that at all. Wonder if he knows that. Probably not. And this is not defamation. This is not slander. Remember, he admitted everything publicly in past videos. The stabbing, the police interaction, do I need to continue? All right. And finally, my favorite post of the week. And this was posted by Seattle Sapphire, we'll say. This is her karma. She will be fat and lonely and miserable the rest of her life. Now, I really like this post, and usually the posts that I like and show you guys usually are funny. I like to try to end with something funny, but this really struck a chord with me due to the seriousness of it. No truer words were spoken. If she does continue this path that she's on right now, there really is nothing else for her. She will be alone and lonely and fat, in bad health and miserable. You know, Foodie, my only advice to you, and who am I? I'm nobody. I am nobody at all. But get your shit together. You have so much more to offer this world. And that's what everybody's talking about over on the Twitter. Oh, thanks so much for listening. I have a good time doing that, and I hope you enjoy it too. Steven, you have anything else to add?
Just to close things up, yeah.
Okay, well here, come on in. I'll give you your seat back. Yeah. Ciao, everybody.
So, where do we go from here? There'll be more legal stuff. There'll be more drama with Natter about the way that he went striking. That's not going to go unnoticed, I don't think. Even people with quality content do that. And to prove that someone is making your content transformable is a hard one. I take issue sometimes with what's considered transformative content. Now, no one's stealing ours, you know. But, like I said, like Chantal says, replaying her entire video in full and adding 3 minutes of commentary is not a proper review. I don't know. I'll leave out whether you think she deserves it or not. But that's not creative. That's not anything. We could watch a half-hour video here and do a live reaction, and those are fun. Those are fun to watch too. Live reactions. I like filmed reactions better. So the direction everything has taken with going live is not something I'm as fond of. It's really tempting to want to sometimes just pop on and talk, but that puts the burden on the audience to do all the thinking and all the suggesting and provide the direction of the chat. That should be done by the creator. Or unless they delegate it out to somebody. So, next week she'll be just as vindictive, just as heavy, just as complaining as she's been for at least the last year, if not longer. So I hope good things for her this week. I'm not optimistic she'll make those happen for herself. Some of us get blasted with the grace of God every so often. Maybe something will come to her. She's mentioned being biblical, depending on who she wants to sleep with. And if they're biblical or not. Like when she stopped eating pork and all that stuff because the guys were Muslim. So we'll catch up next week, see where things are. Please don't hesitate, leave a comment below, because it was quite a cross-section of material this week, and my first time doing it. No glasses, and filming alone, actually. Mark's not here at all. So I hope this all came together for you. Share below. If you have to fact check me, please do fact check me below. I wouldn't want to have a place where you couldn't get the right information somewhere. So if I missed something or got it wrong, please comment below. If you liked the video, please comment below. Also, please like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on Facebook, SmokeySteveAndMarc, Instagram, SmokeySteveAndMarc. We are on Twitter. I think it's SmokeySteveA. Mark handles Twitter. I'm not 100% sure. So you can check us out there. Our email, contact info is all below as well. Thank you again, and we will catch up with you tomorrow night. We are going live at 6 p.m. Eastern for Sunday Night Chat. Be fun, be easy. If you haven't been there, check it out. A lot of lurkers, great mods. It's a very easy time, usually, very light. So if you're available, please join us. All right, thanks for watching. Bye. Say goodbye, Mark.